Hello, everyone. Many people are quite excited about uranium, and with good reason. But it always makes me cringe whenever someone says they're 100% in uranium or it's a guarantee, sure thing. So in this video, I just thought I'd quickly run through some of the risks that I see to the uranium bull market. Now keep in mind, this is not me saying I hate your stocks or I'm bearish on uranium. It's just some risks and why it's not a sure thing. Please give this a quick read and remember to always question if anyone, especially some random person on YouTube, knows what they're talking about. Please bear in mind, these are potential risks, and while I feel they're important to consider as something that could potentially happen, they're definitely not definite. So let's get into it. Now, many of you uranium bulls probably know about the megatons to megawatts program, started in the early 1990s. It was a 20-year agreement to downblend high enriched uranium into low enriched uranium, basically turn nuclear weapons into nuclear fuel. At the time, it was noted that Russia had far too many nuclear weapons, that more than they need. US too, but um, anyway, they downblended it to nuclear fuel, and this was not good for the nuclear fuel providers for a while, but it's over, theoretically, as of 2011, but it could restart, or the US could restart it. They still haven't downblended any of their nuclear weapons, so that could restart. The next risk is something I've heard a few people talk about, underfeeding. Um, Basically, uranium needs to be enriched before it could be used in nuclear reactors, for most nuclear reactors, aside from those in Canada and some Great Britain. But the, the risk here is that as centrifuge technology gets better, and it may have peaked, but as it gets better, allowing the natural uranium to spin more in the centrifuge basically produces more uranium than was prior thought in the contracting. And so the enrichment facilities were able to just spin their centrifuges for longer and sell even more uranium than they thought they had into the spot market, thus driving down the price. It is possible that centrifuge technology could get even better and allowing more and more of this to happen. Will it be a significant amount? Probably not. But could it happen? Yes. Now, the next risk is recycling. Um, I'm sure many of you were hoping for Japanese restarts to pick up, as some of you probably heard that it was a big deal from names such as Rick Rule, who are saying that the pace of Japanese restarts is the single biggest step towards a continuation of the uranium bull market. Now, the reason why I say they may mean less is because the fuel that was made for them that they have a large stockpile of is not uh, usable in other reactors outside of Japan. So the fuel is made specifically for Japanese reactors. So it's not like they've been selling their excess fuel onto the spot market, driving down prices. The second reason is that because recently I saw an article where Japan is planning to build a plutonium recycling facility. Basically, they are going to try to recycle their spent plutonium into and restore it into nuclear fuel. Will they be able to do that? I don't know, but I think so, based on my understanding of the process, and they plan on doing it. Now, this may take years, but I'm just saying they may not consume as much fuel going forward as people may be thinking. The next risk is the byproduct risk, which is basically the risk that while mining for other things that are worth mining for, some miners may come across uranium, and it being a byproduct that lessens their costs, just sell it into the spot market. Such things could be vanadium, which has a recent run up in price. They sometimes appear together. Rare earth elements, possibly. You never know if the trade war will spark some type of re-ban. And it's also possible that some huge gold companies have above ground reserves in vanadium or something, or copper companies, or whatever. Who knows where the deposit may lie? I'm not saying this is happening or has happened, but if it becomes worth it for them to find the uranium and sell it, that could impact the supply. I'm sure I don't need to go too deep into this one, but politics is a risk because almost anywhere, almost anyone, for almost any reason, whether it's fear, anger, misinformation, anything else, could decide they want to shut down nuclear power, um, and that could significantly decrease the demand. Then I think it's important to think about discovery risk. Is there a new either deposit or technology that would allow the change in the economic situation for uranium? Would it suddenly be possible to produce a lot of uranium at $5 a pound? If some new deposit or technology allowed that, then your deposit, which required $50, $60 uranium, might all of a sudden never be useful. And so it could change the whole dynamic of the uh, uranium economic situation. Again, possible, yes, likely, no, but just important to consider. Now, the final uranium specific risk I like to call, or I think of as, outside capitalism. Look at Petition 232. This has reminded the world that uranium is a political tool, not a metal like some others. Um, Now, what could happen here is Russia or China could basically decide we want to ensure that we have nuclear fuel, whatever the cost. We don't care about economics. We found these marginal or whatever deposits in our country, or we bought someone that was way out of the money somewhere, and we're just going to produce out of that deposit. China could say, we don't want to have to rely on the world for our growing nuclear demand, so we're just going to produce. And then all of a sudden, all that demand from China is gone from models. Or Russia could be like, we need to ensure that we have the supply for all these reactors that we're building all over the world. So we're just going to produce uranium, and we want to have enough uranium no matter what because it's worth more to us than the money we would save from buying on the market. These things are possible, and they would significantly change the supply mechanic for uranium in the world. And then the last risk that I'm going to talk about is pretty generic. It's, market risk. Anything could happen in the market. There could be a liquidity crisis could drive down prices, especially in the uranium stocks that are mostly penny stocks, could drive down their prices significantly. Um, Also, if they need to raise money, issue shares, dilute your ownership stake. Those are just risks that are not uranium specific, but specific to or part of being a uranium bull. You should understand that uranium does not operate in a vacuum. is part of a market. Now, in conclusion, this is not to try and scare anyone. I'm still bullish. Don't worry, the supply is drawing down every day. Be patient. I believe the uranium rally will come. It may take years, but it's important to be cognizant in the meantime about some potential for what could go wrong. Now that's it for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please leave a comment telling me how wrong I am or right I am, or how you thought of all of these things or didn't think of any. I'm interested in hearing what people think. Until next time, have a great day.